Hello, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. Hello from Shanghai. This is Super based in Shanghai, China, and welcome to the second series of webinar from Macmillan Education Asia this year. And I'm very glad to see you again. Yes, so I can see people are coming in. So let me start sharing my screen first. And while we're waiting for everybody to arrive in this room, please share with me about where you are based and where you are watching this session from. Yes, Cambodia, China, and Indonesia. Hello, hello. Greetings to everybody from Vietnam, from Bangkok. Thank you for coming again, or for the first time, maybe. So, yeah, this is actually the second round of webinars from Macmillan Education Asia this year, and we're focusing on the topic of multiliteracy, especially under the circumstances of the age of AI, and also thinking about language learning and teaching in the age of AI. What kind of trends there are for us to keep us updated with what's going on, and at the same time rethinking about what we can do in the English classroom. So hopefully we're going to bring a lot of new ideas to you guys. And this is part of our 2024 professional development program. We have launched our first seasonal opening webinar earlier, and this is the second seasonal webinar where we will keep you updated with all the education trends. And also we have done one a lesson plan masterclass in the last webinar series as well. And today we're going to do that lesson plan masterclass again, which is a live lesson planning session with you, with different ideas contributing to a lesson plan where you can adapt and use ideas in your classroom as well. So yeah, stay tuned. And also we will have some new initiatives coming soon as well, like ELT Unplugged, the debate series. Yeah, so we will have that coming soon in the summer. And at the same time, ELT Time and ELT Plus. So these are all the professional development programs we have in our Asia region. And at the same time, there is a very special program coming up from our global as well. It is called New Voices, where we are looking for new voices from you to be a presenter to our global audience. So this is a great opportunity for people who are looking for opportunities to be a speaker, a presenter, to share your own teaching experience in English language teaching. So stay tuned. More information is coming soon. So please follow us on Facebook or WeChat, because we're going to share about more details on our Facebook and the WeChat account very soon. Okay, so we will all have these new programs and new initiatives coming up from our page on Facebook and WeChat. So we will see you there. So without further ado, let me give you some information about today's session and also this spring webinar series. So on next Wednesday, which is the 19th of June, we're going to have the second session, which is a collaborative session between me and Dell. We're going to focus on more about a multiliteracy approach, how to get your students ready for the future with their language using a multiliteracy approach. If you haven't registered, please, here is the QR code for you to get registered for the next session. And after that, I will also be together with my global colleagues, trainers, and academic consultants from different regions of the world. We're going to do another session on June the 25th, Tuesday. We're going to review all the English language teaching webinars we did in the last season, and to come up with a very snappy session to highlight the most useful ideas we found from our last year's webinars. that in that session you're going to get a lot of useful ideas in one place together. So yeah, if you haven't registered, here's the QR code for you, and please stay tuned for that session as well. And now it's time for me to introduce you to today's lesson plan masterclass, and let's welcome Dell to the stage. Hi, Dell.
Hello, Super. How are you?
Great. Glad to
Hey,
see
everybody.
you.
Nice to see you all. Thank you for coming today.
And where's Blue, by the way?
Blue is with us, but he's not with us. He's virtual.
Oh, okay. So let's see how this lesson plan masterclass is going to be with everybody and also Blue virtually together. And I'm ready to learn a lot of new ideas about how to teach a unit opener, how to introduce the unit topic using a multi-modal approach. Okay, so now the stage is yours, Blue, Dale, sorry. And before I go, I just want to very quickly remind you that the certificate and also the session recording will come after a few days like of this session, and it will arrive in your email inbox together with the thank you like email from Macmillan Education Asia. So stay tuned for the certificate and the recording as well. If you have any questions or concerns about the certificate and also about Dale's session, the lesson plan masterclass, please use the Q&A button here on Zoom, and I will collecting all the questions throughout the session, and we will come back to do the Q&A at the end. Okay?
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Super.
thank you. So see you.
Alrighty. Good. Okay. So a seamless swapping of the screen. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It's really a privilege for me to be here with you today to talk to you about unit openers and using this multimodal approach. With these masterclasses, what we want to do is encourage people to give their ideas. So while I'm going to present to you a lesson that I've prepared or that I'm going to sort of prepare with you, I would like you to give me your ideas, your thoughts. So don't be afraid to put into the chat any comments that you have, any suggestions that you may would like to give me to make it better for me. But also, your context might be very different. So share with everybody about your context. Don't be afraid to add your ideas and your suggestions. I'll be asking you along the way to give me your ideas and suggestions. You might have a better way of doing something, and I want to hear that. And so does everybody else in the chat. So please, please feel free to get your fingers working and giving lots and lots of ideas to others. Now, I'm going to move the chat onto a different screen, so you might see me looking up a little bit. Don't worry about that. I'm just reading what's going on in the chat so that I can keep an eye on things as well. But I'll try and look at you in the eyes as we go through. So let's get started. Today, we're going to be looking at a lesson from Skillful Third Edition. And this is level 2. It's a B1 level course. And it's designed for adults and young adults. However, if you don't teach adults or young adults, please do not go anywhere, because I think most of the ideas and suggestions that I'm going to put to you will be useful for secondary and also even in primary classes as well. What we try to do is make these activities span different age levels, and what you need to do as a teacher is obviously tweak them for the level of your learners in terms of the vocabulary and the content that you're teaching. But the essence, the idea, will hopefully be perfect for you whatever level you teach. Now, I've already written a lesson plan, but like I said, I'm going to amend it, hopefully, with your ideas. And here is my lesson plan. Let me just check that you can see that lesson plan. Okay, there you go. So in my lesson plan, you can see it's a little bit different from the first session that I delivered. I don't think there's a right and wrong way to have a lesson plan. Some you get used to your lesson plan, right, and what you want to write. So I just want to give you some suggestions about what might be in my lesson plan. Obviously, I've got the date, the time, the level, the size of the class, and then I have a class profile. The reason why I have a class profile is that if I am sick, a teacher can pick this up and get some idea of the lesson or of the students that they're going to be teaching if they are going to be teaching this lesson. And then I have my learning objectives. Now, I'll just quickly go through my learning objectives. So obviously from the student's point of view, not from my point of view, I want to know what my students are going to achieve at the end of the lesson. So I've put down here my multimodal devices because I want to focus on using images and video today. So this is one of the reasons why I put down multimodal in my actual lesson plan. I want to stimulate their interest and activate their schemata. So activate schemata is a very posh technical way of saying finding out what they already know about a topic. And the topic is the theme of trends and technology. In the next part, I've focused on 21st century skills that I want to develop and how they will do that. So they're going to collaborate, they're going to use critical thinking skills, and they're going to do a higher order thinking skill activity of ordering something. And also they're going to use these images and infographics that I'm going to show you. And then the next part, I'm focusing on interaction. What kind of interaction will my students be doing? So they will work alone, they will work in pairs, in groups, and they will do activities pre, post, and while watching the video. So there's my lesson objectives. I hope I will achieve them in my lesson plan and then in my lesson itself. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. And as you can see, here's the page that I'm looking at. So the first thing I'm going to do with my students, when I open this beautiful unit opener, I think most modern course books nowadays will start with this wonderful image that gets students interested, that gets them hopefully excited about what they're going to learn. But what I want to do is really focus on the image. So if I use my teacher presentation kit, which you can see now, this is the teacher presentation, I can isolate the image very clearly by just clicking on the zoom. So there's nothing else, no distractions there, except for the unit aims at the top. But I want them to really focus on the image. So I might just do some simple activities now just to elicit what they can see in the images. Now there's loads and loads of activities that you can use. But one that I love to do and one that I used in the past masterclass, but every time you do training or every time you do a lesson, you should be recycling, right? And making sure that you're sort of going over things that we've done before so that people can have further practice of it. So in this one, I'm going to recycle a visible thinking routine. So here you can see I've got my visible thinking routine. I'm going to do a very simple one that I love that works every single time. It's called, let me just pull up the chat so I can get your ideas as well. It's called See, Think, and Wonder. So the first question I'm going to ask my students, as you probably already saw, was, what do you see? So I asked the students, what do you see? And they might come up with, I can see some people at a concert, right? So of course, they're at a concert. They might be at a. They might come up with other vocabulary. I can see mobile phones. I can see some people. I can see some hands, and coming up with all this vocabulary, all these different ideas. I then ask them, what do you think about the picture? And then ask them, elicit from them what they think. So this student has said, I think they should put down their phones and enjoy it with their eyes open, which is probably a good thing to do, something that you might already know. I hate to see when I go to something like this, when people are watching through their phones. So what do you wonder is the last one. And I said, I wonder if they'll ever watch the videos again, because these are things that I've said. So these simple visible thinking routines generate lots of ideas, generate lots of thought. And I will get students to do this, maybe on their own, maybe like as a think, pair, share, or maybe just on their own to start off with. And then I will elicit from the students to give me all their ideas. And I will be asking them questions. So I might be asking them about this person here, about maybe, do you wonder if she's got long hair because she's got something around her hand that might be there to tie her hair back. Just getting them to think a little bit out of the box when it comes to the photo and different questions, and getting squeezing as much as I can out of the picture itself. Now, Ah, that's a very good question. I didn't notice that actually, David. That's a really good question. Yeah, and I think it's probably designed to be like that. I wonder why their telephones have different images. You are very, very careful with your See Think Wonder. So thank you, David. I didn't notice that at all. Now into the chat, I'm just going to put this visible thinking routine. So that you can have an idea. This is from the Harvard Project Zero site. It's a really good resource. Please have a look at that. And there's also a little article here about visible thinking routines from our One Stop English site as well to give you some ideas. So after my visible thinking routine, I've got some ideas about the picture. I might want to do something else with this. So what I like to do as well is use something called a dialogue build. Now, I might use one of these ideas, but I'm going to show you a number of them just to give you something to choose for yourself. So what I'm going to do is a simple dialogue build. So here you can see there's person A has said, "Can you believe how amazing this concert is?" And person B says, "OMG, the energy here is incredible." And then so on. "Never have I seen so many people recording the same moment." Followed by, "Capturing memories, I suppose." "Everyone's got their phones out." "Right, it's like a sea of screens." And then finally, "Totally. Let's make sure we enjoy the live experience though." So a very simple dialogue, but I've done something with this dialogue. I'm not sure if you can notice. There's a message in my dialogue. Can you tell me what that message might be? Can you put into the chat? Can you see any hidden message in my dialogue? I'll give you a moment to think and read the dialogue. Very nice, Amir. Yeah, but there's a special message within the dialogue that you can read. And hi, Amir. It was really nice to see you at the Macmillan Days recently. Living in the moment. Okay, let me give you another clue. Something that you can spell out. 5, 4. Concert dualt. You've got it. Wonderful, Kenya. You've seen it. Brilliant. There you go. The first letter of each word of the dialogue spells out the word concert. So this is a really creative task that I've created here for you to give to students. Now, students could write their own dialogues, of course. They might think of another word that comes from this picture, such as, I don't know, music. It could be fun. It could be together. There could be lots of words that they could elicit from this and then write a dialogue. The key here is that when the students act out the dialogue, the other students have a task to do, and that is to listen and try and guess what that word might be. So there's a bit of active listening when they're actually doing the dialogue themselves. Now, what I'm going to do with the dialogue is I'm going to drill the dialogue, and the students are going to repeat what I'm saying. I'm going to drill the pronunciation, the intonation. I'm going to drill the stress of the words to give it some life. And I'm going to get the students to practice this together then in pairs. Once they've done that, I'm going to give them the dialogue again, but this time I've blocked out some of the words. So the students now have to drill the dialogue, have to role play the dialogue themselves and try and remember these words. Now, what this does, it gets students to work together to support each other. So the first one, "Can you believe how?" Do you remember what that word was? How? Amazing, Amir, yeah. But if you can't think of amazing, Amir helped me out. He's my partner. I couldn't think of it, and he told me, so we're working together. We're collaborating. But what else we could do was think of I can't think of it. Was it amazing, or was it fantastic, or brilliant, or great? And there we have a synonym that has come out from that feeling about what the concert was about. So I can now, as a teacher, monitor and see if there's any other language that the students are learning and write this on the board, and then build on these dialogues and build on their actual understanding of what the vocabulary that is missing. OMG, the here is incredible. The what? What was it? The oh, I can't think. Can you help me? The what? The what was incredible. The energy. Okay, great. Yeah. Well, I might be thinking, oh, the food here is incredible. The people here, maybe not the people because it's is, right? So is it would be the people here are incredible. Okay, so it can't be people. So now there's grammar that I'm thinking about with these missing words, right? So I'm building their vocab, but also a little bit of grammar coming in. So the atmosphere would work. Ti huang tran wing. Yes, that would be perfect, right? And I would write down atmosphere on the board, and then at the end, maybe see if they can guess where atmosphere might go. And that's a great word from this student. This is an easy level idea for vanishing dialogues. And for a more difficult, you can simply take away the actual lines. Now, what this does, particularly for more advanced students, is it gets them collaborating a lot. They need help from each other to do this. But when they see the board like this, with the whole dialogue gone, and they can actually create the dialogue themselves, it creates an enormous sense of achievement. You know, your English is a difficult subject to learn. It's difficult. It's a challenge. But when they realize that they've gone from a full dialogue, from reading it on the board and practicing it, to then actually being able to do it without any words, it's incredible. It's amazing. Particularly great as well with younger learners who are getting a start in English. When they see they can do a simple dialogue, maybe 4 lines, without any words, it gives them that real energy and that real desire to then go on and learn more because they can see that they can do it. It gives them that achievement and that realization. Okay, let's go on now to the infographic. So Skillful has, I'm sorry, I'm getting all my things mixed up. Skillful has these fantastic infographics. Infographics are really cool. They're modern. They're something that the students will be used to seeing in various aspects of their lives, online, in magazines, in papers, this kind of thing. They're everywhere now. And they're really obviously there for a reason because they give us a lot of detail in short little bites, which really fits today's learner. With this infographic, I'm going to ask you now to give me some ideas. So how could you bring this infographic to life with your students? How could it be adapted to make it more engaging? So if you want to give me some ideas in the chat, I'd be happy to see that. And then in a moment, I'll give you my ideas as well. But keep thinking as I go through my ideas, what you might do with an infographic like this. How could you make it more exciting for your learners? Imagine you're planning a lesson for this evening. What would you do with this infographic? Astrid. Oh, hi, Astrid. How are you? Some chain speaking. Yeah, definitely. Write stories. I like that, David. That's from Hung Viet. To write some stories about the topic. David says to have them act out a play on the history of telephones. Again, I'm reading this so that I give a record of when I go back and have a look at the chat. I think it saves the chat, but I can't be obviously sure. A puzzle kind of activity, says Kenya, matching the years with events. Van, I think you've read my mind. Some role plays. Fantastic, fantastic ideas. Yes, we've got some ordering as well. So yeah, the first thing I would do, I'd have a blank infographic. So it's great if you've got a digital version or something that you present digitally. If not, you might have to maybe just write this on the board, the history of telephones in the USA. So you might have to recreate the infographic on the board. Again, Hung Viet's got a KWL. Oh, you're all reading my mind. This is fantastic. And I'd elicit now, what do they think? So imagine when the telephone was first invented to where it is now, what are the big events? What are the major events? And get the students to give me loads of ideas about what's happened. So from their own ideas, so from their own support. And then I'll get them to order the information. So you see in the infographic, we've got the information there. And now I'm going to take this out and make it available to the learners. So here we've got all the information. I'm now going to get them to read this information and put it in order. Now, I have a class of 30 students. If I want them to work in pairs, it means I have to print this out 15 times, cut it up, then put it into different piles of 15 and give it to the students, and they spend maybe 2 minutes putting it in order. Doing things kinesthetically, using your hands, it's really great. It's good fun, and it adds a different element to the lesson. But with 30 students, I'm not sure I'm going to get a return on my investment of time. So what I think I will do is just put the simple A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J next to it, and ask the students now in their notebooks to order them. 1, C, number 2, H, number 3, G. And simply they can then order these very easily without having to cut them all out. All right, so get them to order them. And then to check their answers, first of all, I would reintroduce the pictures. So now they've got the pictures, they can actually check their ordering by looking at these pictures and seeing if they've got them in the right order. They've probably got the first one right and the last one 100% right, but maybe in between there might be a little bit of discussion that they might want to have when it comes to putting those in the correct order. And then finally, I just show them the infographic as a whole, and they can then check their answers. Really nice way to go through this infographic and use a bit of higher order thinking skills with some ordering tasks. I really love your ideas, though. I'm going to go back and look at those and make sure that the chat is copied so that I've got those ideas and I can add them into the lesson plan as well. Now, let's have a look at the discussion point. So if I go back to my my book view, you can see here we've got the image, the infographic, and here we have a discussion point. So again, this is to get the students thinking, to activate their schemata, to find out their prior knowledge, and also to stimulate their interest in the topic of trends and themes around technology. Now, I'm not going to talk to you about this. I'm going to pass you over to my lovely colleague, Mr. Blue. Say hi to Blue. And Blue's going to talk to you all about the infographics now. So Blue's going to be talking for about 5 minutes, and I'll pass you over now. I just give me 1 second to check that I'm sharing my sound. I am. And I will pass you over to Blue.
Thank you, Dal. As you can see, everyone, the office is overrun at the moment with a number of doodle bunnies. But you join me now as I'm going to give you my suggestion for what you can do as an opener, as a discussion point to get your students talking. So let's take a look. So we are looking at the discussion points. Now, of course, you can have your students sit there, pair up and answer the questions. But the reality is that you're going to be greeted after 2 or 3 minutes with this. Teacher, we've finished. And whilst I applaud the students' correct usage of the present perfect, I know as a teacher that I wanted my students to spend much longer discussing these points. I want them to use their English, but this is something that has to be cultivated through shared discussion. So I'm going to share with you what I would do in my classroom. Firstly, as a teacher, I'd look at my objectives. What do I want them to get out of these discussion points? Or what do I want to get from the discussion point? Number 1, I want my students to relate to and be engaged with the topic. Number 2, I want them to display what vocabulary they already own in terms of the topic related theme. Number 3, I want to get my students up, walking around and mingling amongst one another. I want them to share ideas with everybody. And finally, as a teacher, I'm going to look on and identify any weaknesses, any particular areas that might need addressing later. Now, it all starts with this, a very simple template. Now, this template is your best friend when it comes to cultivating shared discussion because it's so flexible with what you can do with it. Number 1, you might simply do a survey. What kind of phone do you use? I'm going to ask 6 different students, walk around the room and gather their answers. As simple as that. At the end, you're going to sit back down and the students can relate and feedback any information they got. The second thing is bingo, a really good multi-layered activity. So the first thing you're going to do is take those questions from the book. You're also going to encourage students to write their own questions as well. So you're going to just leave 2 boxes empty maybe. And again, you can tailor this according to the level of your students, maybe 1 box, maybe 2 boxes, it's up to you. But they're going to write their own question according to the theme and topic. Now, once again, they are going to speak to 6 different students in the class and record their answers. Once everyone has finished this, they're going to sit back down. When that was going on, you are going to write all of your students' names to the board. What you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and randomly erase one name. For example, Truck. Now, immediately, anyone who spoke to Truck is going to raise their hands. Mr. Blue, Mr. Blue, I spoke to Truck, and they're going to tell you their answer. Truck got her first phone after she graduated. Now, anyone with Truck, they're going to cross off her name. Of course, the first student to get 6 crosses, bingo. So it's really simple and can be applied for primary students, secondary students in this example, but it really doesn't matter. It's multi-layered and it allows students to talk to one another, but also relay their answers back to you. People bingo is a variant of this, okay? Now in people bingo, very similar to find someone who. So again, you're going to pose 6 different points and questions. What brand of phone do you use? What color is your phone? How long have you had your phone for? Now, what's different about this is you yourself, the student, you're going to write your answers. So you're going to task your students to write their 6 answers before they stand up. So here are my 6 answers, okay? I own an old Xiaomi phone. My phone is black. I've had it for around 4 years. Now, once I've done that, my task is to stand up and find 6 unique students who share the same answers as myself. For example, Winston also owns a Xiaomi. V has a black phone like myself. Wayne has had his phone also for 4 years. You get the idea. Once you've got 6 unique names, bingo, you've won the game. You've managed to find 6 people with the same answers as yourself. And finally, write 3, find 3. An activity that allows students to think for themselves, but also then go around the room and find 3 answers that they like and appreciate. So for this, I've put functions of a phone. What does a phone do? You know, nowadays, it's a phone in name, but it's almost like a mini PC, isn't it, in your pocket? So what are the functions of what a phone does? So I've written my 3 answers, and now I'm going to go around the room and find 3 answers that I like. It doesn't have to be the first 3 I find, but 3 answers that I think, oh, they're good answers, I will take them. So I found that Malcolm said take photos, Eric said set an alarm, and Jennifer who said shop. So a number of ways that you can utilize a simple grid, a simple template, and cultivate discussion amongst your students. Del, super, back to you. Thank you, Del. Thank you, Del.
Thank you, Blue, for those wonderful ideas. What do you think, guys? Do you like those ideas? Let me just recap. I like them because they're simple. They're easy to use. They use one template and lots of applications for each of these templates. And they get students definitely discussing things. They're quite personalized, particularly the people bingo. And I think they can be adapted. Okay, Blue's got it for this using a telephone, but can be adapted for getting to know you, you know, and as he said, for every level as well. But yeah, Nina, great way to encourage discussion. And yeah, Kenny, try them with smaller classes, but big classes, it doesn't work. That's quite important, isn't it? So with larger classes, maybe you could just break it down so that they're only talking to a a section of the class, maybe breaking the room into 4. But it's definitely something to consider. We always have to consider our environment when we come to doing these activities. But yeah, it's good to have that in the back of their head. I think we always get feedback about teachers having large classes in Asia. And I think maybe we should do some more training, actually, or more sessions, webinars on specifically ideas for teaching large classes as well. Sometimes students don't want to show their answers. Yeah, so how could you avoid this? Oh, sorry, sometimes they just show their answers and let them copy. I just think you have to monitor this and make sure that you're giving your students praise and support, and tell them that they're better than that. They shouldn't just copy, that they can do this activity. Make sure you give them the language that they need, scaffold it beforehand so that they're comfortable with the questions that they're going to ask. And the kind of answers that they're going to need. Model the activity beforehand as well with your students. So let's have a look now at the pre-watching task. So I'm moving now in terms of being multimodal. I'm moving from the images and the infographic to the actual video. So I need to do a little bit of a transition from these images to the discussion points to the video content. So the last part of the infographic talked about New York becoming the first state to ban cell phones while driving. All right. So the video itself, I'll tell you what the video is, but I wouldn't tell my students at this stage, but I'll tell you what it is. The video is all about driverless cars, or sometimes called autonomous vehicles, right? That's the video. So what I want to try and do now is move from this theme of what we were talking about with telephones, but still maintaining the theme of trends and the theme of technology, but moving it now onto the video content, which is driverless cars. So I'll use this as a talking point. So I might ask the students some questions around this. Might ask them if actually it's illegal. Is it where you live? This is a question for you. Where you live, is it illegal to hold a cell phone while you drive a car or ride a motorcycle? Is it legal where you live? It is in Thailand, I'm sure. I'm based in Thailand. Mohammed, where are you? Where are you? Tell me the country that you're in as well. Okay. So it's not illegal in Saudi. It's definitely in Vietnam. Is it illegal in Vietnam? Illegal in Vietnam. Okay. Interesting. It's definitely illegal in Thailand. However, I've been in many cars and many taxis where you wouldn't think, and even seen people riding their motorbikes using telephones to suggest that it is illegal. Anyway, as a teacher now, I'm going to ask some questions to just elicit, to get some interest. So I'm going to ask my students, do you use a phone when you're driving or riding a motorcycle? All right, I'll ask my students. Now, I'm thinking, remember, my students are young adults. They're in university. So while they might not be driving a car, they might be, but maybe not. They might be riding a motorcycle. So they might not be. They might be just using public transport. So my next question might be, after I've got them to think, pair, and share, I might ask them this question. So how do you feel when a taxi driver uses a phone when he or she is driving? And then I might ask them, what could be a solution to this problem? So you can see I'm trying to get to a point where I'm eliciting from the learners a solution, and that solution would be, let me just pull down my chat so I can see what you're writing, sorry. That solution might be what the video is going to talk about, which is now an image, driverless car. So I'll be looking at this image, I'll be asking them what's going on. She's using a phone while driving. Is she driving? Lots of questions around this. It actually says, doesn't it, in the image, self-driving. So the students would probably be now understanding that what we're going to talk about is autonomous vehicles. Now, pre-watching, we should be teaching some vocabulary. So in the book, there's this really nice matching activity of the most salient vocabulary, the most important vocabulary that they're going to need, and possibly the challenging vocabulary that they might see. So the level is B1. This vocabulary will be at that level, maybe a little bit above, to challenge them, and the students will simply match the vocabulary. So number one, what does that match with? Which one? A, B, C, D, or E? First one to get it is the winner. Yes, Miss Wynn, it's C. So an autonomous vehicle is a vehicle with no driver. But let me just have a look outside my window a moment. Oh, yes, yes. My car is still outside and there is no driver in my car. So is my car autonomous? Is my vehicle autonomous? It's outside, there's no driver. It's a good question, right? Of course it's not, Van. No, it's not. And we might be able to get this, obviously, from the context. We've been looking at images. But what I'm trying to get across is when we teach any vocabulary, we need to check understanding. We need to ask questions to make sure our students understand. Going back to just copying each other. Students at the back of the class might just be copying each other. They might not fully understand what these words actually mean. So what we can do is we can ask questions. Does an autonomous vehicle have a driver? Well, yes, it does to some degree, but when it's actually on the road, nobody's driving, the vehicle's driving itself. What do they use to see things around them? So hopefully we're eliciting words like sensors and lasers and LiDAR and things like this. And then how do they navigate? Well, we navigate using GPS. So hopefully they'll be able to answer these questions. And then that gives you an understanding that they understand that an autonomous vehicle is something a little bit more than a vehicle without a driver. It's key to actually checking understanding. And again, with this kind of word, what word am I eliciting here? What's this word? Blame. Thank you, Miss Wynn again, Miss Winnock. Blame. So again, I might be asking questions. Who was the last person you blamed for something? What did you blame them for? What was the last thing you were blamed for? So I'm going to ask them lots of questions to check understanding, to personalize the vocabulary, to make sure my learners understand it. I can't be sure just from doing an activity in a book that they understand the vocab. I need to go a bit further. So make sure you ask those concept check questions. And then when we've done that, we're going to stimulate some interest. So a simple brainstorming activity is useful for this kind of thing, particularly when we have something like where there's a concrete topic of autonomous vehicles. So what I might do with my class, split them into two. One side is positives, one side is negatives. And what the students have to do is think first, come up with lots of ideas why this is a negative thing, why this is a positive thing. And then when they've done that, we play a game of tennis. So we might get a ball, something soft. The students on the left-hand side with the positives say, one of them says something positive. He or she has a ball. And then she throws it to the other side of the room, throws it across. One person catches it and they have to say something negative. They throw it back and back and back. And the team that can think of the most is the winning team at the end. A very simple brainstorm game of tennis. What you can also do is the KWL chart, which was mentioned earlier. So what I know, autonomous cars do not have drivers. What I want to know, how do they navigate? All right, so this is what we can do before we watch the video. What I learned will come after, of course. So while they've got this, they can now watch the video and fill in the charts. They can fill in the what I learned, and also they can answer some of the questions. All right, so some of the questions here are from the student's book. Really nice questions, but what I would get the students to do before actually is try to answer the questions and then watch and check their answers. Do some prediction first. This is a good way to test their sort of logic as well, because the first one, driverless cars will be less safe or safer. What do you think? I think you could probably answer that with logic before you even watch the video, right? They're not going to introduce driverless cars if they are less safe. It would be against sort of like human nature to do that. So they probably could guess the answer to that by using logic and their knowledge of English in terms of understanding the vocabulary, of course. Driverless cars will never crash, do crash sometimes. Well, we've got will never. That's quite a strong statement. And then there again, they could probably predict that it might be that they crash sometimes, and we'll get them to predict these answers. And then while they watch, they can check their answers. They can also use, or you could use something like Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is an amazing tool. It's free of charge, where you can create questions for videos and they will stop as you go through the video. Let me give you a little example of Edpuzzle, and I'll show you the video now. I'm not going to play the whole video to you. I'll just show you a quick one. I prepared this earlier.
More and more motor manufacturers are making autonomous vehicles in the form of driverless cars. These companies believe that driverless cars will be safer. However,
okay, so now I've programmed it to ask a question at this specific point. So, why are motor manufacturers making driverless cars? They believe they will be cheaper, faster, or safer. All right, so we select the answer. I need to go back to my chat. Okay, yeah, so they believe they're safer, so we select this one, submit, continue.
However, this does not mean that driverless cars will never crash. Octo USA is a company that studies information to discover the cause of crashes.
So again, Octo USA makes driverless cars, yes or no? No, they don't, do they? They just provide the data. Submit, continue.
They help companies analyze
and so on and so forth. Now, you as a teacher, obviously you have the video in the teacher's presentation kit. You can actually just simply show them the video and stop it. But there's a little bit of a difference when you do that in the class. You have to prepare the questions in advance, but also the students know when you're going to stop it, so they're not programmed to watch it up until it stops. They can see a little bit in the signposting there that it's going to stop, but they're waiting for you to stop it. And it's also a little bit less natural, actually, when you do that. You also have to give them multiple choice, which is difficult to do. Then there's a listening task, because they have to listen to your questions and listen to your answers. So using a tool like Edpuzzle is great. And you can also give it for homework to recycle the lesson, recycle the video that they've been watching. It's really, really quick and easy to do. I'll give you a very short example. I uploaded this video earlier, which is Blue's video, the discussion point. It takes 1 minute to upload. It takes about 5 minutes to prepare, to then write questions. But the system does that for you. And then you click on it and you can start adding questions by editing. You press play, go to questions, press play.
Thank you, Del. As you can see, everyone, the office is overrun at the moment with a number of doodle bunnies.
So, and then a multiple choice question. What did Blue call the puppets? And then you type your choice in: doodle bunny, teddy bear. And I select the answer. Done. First question done. And then I can go through all the way through, continue writing these questions. Very, very simple, very easy to use, and highly recommended. I don't work for Edpuzzle, but if I did, I think their stock would soar because I love it so much. Okay, now post-watching task. We obviously have some discussion questions. I'm going to chuck this over to Blue in a moment to give you some ideas. And you can also, I just wanted to point out, because for higher level, for IELTS students, for example, you could do something like this. You can turn it into a discursive essay. Now, I use ChatGPT to help me with this. I told them that my topic was autonomous cars. Please write a writing task 2, as it would see in an IELTS exam. And it came out with this really nice IELTS question here. So another adaptation. But we're going to give the final word to Blue, who's going to talk to you now about his ideas for the final task, which is this discussion task. Sorry, it's not his discussion task, after the discussion task to finish off the lesson. So let me just pull up Mr. Blue.
Yes, but if the pound dips, then that's going to have a knock-on effect on the US dollar, isn't it? So Oh, welcome back. Thank you, Del. Sorry, I was deep in conversation there. So yeah, let's take a look at what I would do at the tail end of the lesson. Now, if you're anything like me, you like to reward your students for their hard work throughout the lesson. And why not reward them with a game at the end? Of course, you've got 20 minutes left. You don't want to play a game for game's sake. You want to play a game that somehow serves a purpose, okay? You've got these questions in the book. I want my students to discuss them, but then I want to build on that and have some fun. So how do I do this? I play a game called Family Feud. You might be familiar with Family Feud. It's a very famous American television game show. And basically, how this game works in the classroom is as follows. You're going to put your students into teams. Give each team a marker and a mini whiteboard. You're going to ask a question to your students. You're going to give them time to write the top 4 best answers to that question you ask them. And finally, they're going to raise their boards up in the air and share their answers. You're going to share your answers as the teacher. For each same answer that they have and that you have, they are rewarded $100. 1 point. It's up to you. So look back at those after you watch questions. I'm going to lift them out of the book and I'm going to utilize them for top 4 reasons. For example, here, what are top 4 reasons experts feel that autonomous cars aren't safe? What are the top 4 advantages to using driverless cars? And finally, what are the top 4 countries where autonomous cars are already being used? Now, you might be sitting there at home thinking, well, that's great. You've got 4 questions, or 3 questions, I should say. But what about the answers? Do not fret, everybody. ChatGPT is here to help you. Now, I would make this clear to my students that I'm using this to source my answers. It makes it fun, and they try and get the same answers as what I received from ChatGPT. Now, you're going to do the same right now, guys. I'm going to ask you that first question. What are the top 4 reasons experts feel that autonomous cars aren't safe? Now, I can't leave this screen here for very long. It'll be very awkward, the silence, but feel free to type in the chat or just have a think to yourself what you think the top 4 answers could be. I'll give you some time, another 10 seconds maybe. So here's my top 4 answers. Well, I say mine, ChatGPT's. Technical failures. Unpredictable humans. So whilst there'll be driverless cars, there'll also be humans driving actual cars. So you can't predict what humans are going to do. Potential hacking. Of course, it's being driven by a computer. People can hack these computers, possibly. And finally, AI ethics. If you're a human in an ethical position of there's going to be an accident, do I turn left or do I turn right? What's the ethics of AI? Do they have any? How does that work if option A is bad and option B is also bad? So those are the 4 answers. And finally, one more question. The top 4 countries that are already using and utilizing autonomous vehicles. Again, what do you think they are? Write them quickly in the chat or just think to yourself. The answers probably won't surprise you. They didn't surprise me. Here they are. Number 1, US of A. Number 2, China. Number 3, Germany. And no prizes for number 4. I'm going to guess it was your top answer, Japan. There we go. So again, a nice way to take the questions out of the book and almost gamify the experience. Get your students discussing, cultivate that discussion, and have some fun before they leave the classroom. Yes.
Thank you, Blue, for those lovely ideas. Has anybody used Family Fortunes before, or Family Feud, or an activity like this? I've used it. I used it a lot when I worked in a school in Bangkok at the end of the term to recycle vocabulary as well. So we had the topics of vocabulary, and then I would ask the students to try and remember the vocabulary using this game, and have a Family Fortunes type game. Really cool, nice little way, again, to elicit lots of vocabulary from the learners and lots of ideas. There are templates online I know that you can access to make these beautiful things like this for you, these presentation tools for you. So have a look at that and see if it's useful. All right, I am going to now come to the end, I believe. Let me just pull up my PowerPoint again. The end of my session in good time. And I want to know if you've got any questions. So I think Super's there. So does anybody have any questions before we move on to Super's showcase?
Yes, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. And yeah, apart from the questions, I think teachers have shared a lot of brilliant ideas as well. So
Yeah,
I think, Del, you're going to, yeah,
I'm going to add those ideas to the lesson plan that I have here. So the ideas that we saw in the chat, I believe that Zoom will store the chat as well. I need to check that, but I'm going to go back in when Super does her showcase. I'll go back in and add those ideas to my lesson plan, and I'll be sharing this lesson plan with you, with the PowerPoints, when you receive the
thank you email from Macmillan Education.
Yes. So you'll get a thank you email with the PowerPoints and any of the handouts that we gave you as well. So stand by for that.
Yes, and I really love the collaboration between you and the virtual Blue, and I think it worked to really teach us a lot of good ideas about how to teach a unit opener and introduce the topic of unit to the students in a very multi-modal approach, and also using different types of content to engage students, and with a lot of different types of activities as well.
Thank you, Super. Nalana, we will send you, as I said, the PDF with everything that I've shown you today. So just stand by for that. You'll get that for sure. And we really miss Blue, but Blue is actually he's not left us. Don't worry about that. He'll be back for the ones in October. I think we're going to run some more in October. Well, we have one obviously next week that me and Super are going to run. But Blue's on leave at the moment. He's gone back to take he's got a small little baby at the moment that he's going to take back to his family in the UK. So we have him virtually, which is great.
Yeah. And also, thank you very much for sharing your ideas with us. I think that is the beauty of this live lesson planning session. We work together as a group, as a community, to come up with a very good lesson planning process, contributing ideas together to build a very great template of lesson plan for everybody else to refer to when you are teaching your class. And I see teachers using Skillful as well.
That's great. Good to see. Yeah. So anyway, just to reiterate, certificates, everything will be coming soon in a thank you letter. Don't go anywhere. because Super's now going to take you on our showcase of Skillful. So I'll leave you with Super, and I just want to say thank you all for participating. See you again next Wednesday.
Yes.
Take care.
And yes, and also here's a QR code for you to share your ideas and thoughts about this lesson plan, like masterclass session. We would like to hear from you about your feedback and your future ideas about what you want to hear in this lesson plan session. And we would like to collect more information from you to make our sessions better. So here I will give you just maybe 30 seconds to scan this QR code and share your ideas and feelings about this lesson plan masterclass session before I move on to the showcase of Skillful. Some of you have been teaching Skillful already. That's great to know. And some of you might be interested in knowing more about which lesson, which course Dell has just shared with you. So I am going to go through this course called Skillful Third Edition with you in a detailed way to show you how this course might work with you in the classroom and how you can teach your students with a very powerful course called Skillful. Yes, so before we start, I will just the link has been shared in the chat as well. So we really appreciate your ideas. Okay, now let's crack on the course showcase of Skillful Third Edition. So as you can see from this opening slide, Skillful Third Edition is a very, very beautiful course, and it is very authentic as well. It is actually the third edition of a very popular course book from Macmillan Education, and it is an academic English course, 5-level American English. And we have been using Skillful from maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and now it's updated to the third edition coming this year, 2024. And we have been updating the whole course to make it up to date and also to make sure it's engaging and following the latest content where the students are being engaged with. And it is a very step-by-step approach. It uses a very step-by-step approach to develop students' 4 skills, for example, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. At the same time, another syllabus of skills are integrated into the whole book, including study skills, academic skills, and also a lot of different softer skills like critical thinking skills, stuff like that. And I'm going to show you how it works. And also, we have a very strong academic vocabulary foundation in Skillful Third Edition. So hopefully you will find this course book useful. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the chat, and I'm happy to give you more answers about this course. So as you can see from this slide, there are 5 levels of Skillful Third Edition. And in each level, we will have 2 books. So we will have the listening and speaking book and also the reading and writing book. So this is a dual approach course book where we have the listening and speaking together and reading and writing together. In total, we have 10 books for 5 levels. Okay, so these are the basic information about this course. And I'm going to use my a digital book to give you more ideas of what the course book is like. So wait a second. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Okay, so this is the digital book of Skillful Third Edition, and I'm going to use this presentation kit to give you a unit walkthrough and a very comprehensive a picture about the unit of Skillful Third Edition. This is from level 2, reading and writing, which is around maybe CFR B1 level. And on the first page, this is the unit opener where Dell and Blue has just planned a lesson with. And on this unit opener, there will be a very beautiful infographic and together with a very eye-catching visual to attract the students' attention and give students an idea about what the unit topic is. Basically, we have food in this unit. And there are the discussion points where you can engage your students with their previous knowledge about the topic and getting them engaged about what they have already known about the topic. And very clearly, the unit aims are already there. So the students will be very clear about what they're going to achieve in two reading here, and also vocabulary, grammar, writing, and also academic skills. Okay. Here, yeah, Teacher Chen, do you have Skillful that has 4 skills combined in a book? Unfortunately, no. We have separated them into 2 books to make the teaching more consistent in the way of the 4 skills. So there are no combined 4 skills book yet. Yeah, but you can use them together because all the units are identical. So you will find the unit 2 food in the reading and speaking book, but also a reading and writing book. At the same time, you will have the same food unit in the speaking and the listening book. So all the units are mapped, and you can use them together seamlessly. Even if they are 2 books, but the topic, the unit structure, the content are very well designed to be used together. Yes. And apart from the visuals, we also the pictures, we also have the video, right? So this video is from Reuters. So this is an authentic video from a real source where the students can watch and add to a global perspective for them to understand the topic. So giving you a very quick look at what the video might look like.
Container shipping.
Yeah, so you can use this video as Blue and Dell have just shared. Use this video for before you watch, while you watch, and after you watch activities. So the students will be following a very step-by-step and a well-structured lesson plan to go through the video to understand more about the topic by watching the video, and also personalize what they have been learned about the topic of the unit, and making connection between the topic with their own life. Yeah, and using this before, while, and after you watch activities to get the students on board of the whole topic of the unit. And after the unit opener, we will move on to the first reading text. There will be 2 reading texts in one unit. The first reading will be slightly easier. The second reading will be slightly more difficult than the first one, but there will be 2 in total. And as you can see, before we start the reading, there will be a lot of activities to get your students prepared. First of all, the vocabulary preview section will help your students to be ready with what they're going to read. And these words are going to be the key words to help them understand the reading. And after that, there will be a before you read activity for the students to activate their previous knowledge about the topic and to think about something they have already known about what they're going to read. And then we move on to the first reading activity, which is the global reading. For the global reading activity, we focus on the main ideas. We read really quickly for gist to get your students to skim the text really quickly to get an overview about the main ideas of the text. We will help them to develop reading skills skim, and help them to develop reading skills that helps them to read texts. And also, it is in the teacher's book, there are some teacher's tips about how to relate these reading skills with exams like IELTS. So the students will be developing their reading skills and also listening skills in the listening book, and together for the purpose of real application and at the same time to make it relevant for students who are going to take exams like IELTS. And In the first reading, the students are going to have the glossary to help them with unfamiliar or difficult words that coming up in the text, but are not the key like target vocabulary of the unit, and helping them to gain a very good comprehension about the unit, about the reading text. And after that, there will be the second task, which is the close reading task. In the close reading part, we focus on the details. So we help students to develop reading skills like scanning. So they are going to read for details to get very detailed information about specific paragraphs and specific sentences. And they will be doing reading comprehension tasks like true, false, or not given. This is also very, very useful for students who are going to taking exam like IELTS. It is mapped to the IELTS reading exam as well. So in this way, the students will develop both global reading skills and close reading skills in these two tasks. And after that, there will be a critical thinking task for them to read and also go beyond what they have read, and then thinking about the relationship between what they have read with their own life, with the real application context, and giving them opportunities to think beyond the topic only. So these critical thinking skills, will help students to develop their higher order thinking skills, like to analyze, to compare, and to evaluate, and also to create their own ideas after reading, the text. And then the next section is called academic skills. So before we move on to the second reading text, we will have the academic skills section here in between. So for example, in this unit, we have the cohesive words and phrases. For example, the synonyms, the reference words, the substitution, and also the transition signals. These are the study skills or learning skills or some meta cognitive skills for students to use inside and outside the classroom. So this is a complete set of skills syllabus for students to become competent, autonomous learners, so that they can be more capable of being an independent learner. So these words, these skills are standalone skill set for students to develop, apart from the reading, listening, speaking, and writing skills. And activities will be there for them to practice these skills as well. And then we come to the second reading text. So the second reading text follow the same format of this first reading text. So there will be vocabulary preview, there will be before you read activities, there will be global reading, again, developing skimming reading skills, and moving on to the close reading task. So the students will be focusing on more details of the text. For example, understanding synonyms. So the students are going to find synonyms in the reading text, and to help them to understand, find a similar meanings of words and compare them. So this is again very relevant to students to develop their reading skills for taking IELTS examinations, for example. Okay. And after that, the critical thinking task again to help them to develop beyond the reading, again to connect with more real world contexts. So the reading 1 and the reading 2 follow the same format, the same structure. The students will have opportunities to be exposed to two reading texts to develop their close and global reading skills. Okay. And after that, there will be a section to focus on the vocabulary. So the students have read 2 reading texts, right? They have developed words for reading, and now it's time to consolidate what they have learned. So this vocabulary development section is designed to consolidate the vocabulary. So the students are going to review what they have just learned in the reading, these words. So these are the adjectives for describing food. Again, moving on to more exercise for them to develop understanding and the application of these words. And that's the words used in the reading text. And again, we will focus more on more academic vocabulary. So there will be a section called academic words and idioms after the vocabulary, like from the reading texts. So the students will be able to develop academic words and idioms like only in this part. We know students in universities or going to do like a university like academic study in some English speaking countries will need more academic vocabulary to support them in their academic work. So these are the words from every Cox House academic word list. So these words will be the most frequently used words in the academic text. Yeah, so the students will have time to develop these vocabulary and also some idioms as well. So getting ready for them to read more academic words. So exercise practice will be there to support students to be more able to use them in a real like sentence or a context. So after these vocabulary, the students will move on to the writing. So there will be a writing model for students to analyze and then to find out the features, the key elements, key words and the structures in this writing model for them to know what to expect, what kind of text they are going to write. So this is actually a bottom-up approach. Before they start to write their own piece, there will be a model for them to look at and analyze. And there will be comprehension questions for them to understand what they have just read. And then moving on to a very deductive grammar approach. So before they start to write, there will be time for them to be ready with the grammar they're going to use. So this is the relative clauses they're going to be using in the writing task. So getting ready with these grammar structures, and then moving on to the writing skills. So the students will be taught about a specific writing skill. For example, writing compound sentences before they actually do their writing task. So a lot of scaffolding, a lot of preparation are there for students to get input, to get ready with the writing skills, to get ready with the grammar, and then finally they will have the writing task to do. So these writing tasks again are very much aligned to the writing tasks the students are going to encounter in the IELTS writing exam. So you will find them very similar to the writing tasks in the IELTS writing exam. So the students are going to brainstorm and then plan, and also then moving on to write. After the write, they will have time to review and rewrite and edit. So this is a process writing lesson plan for students to follow, and they are going to be very well supported in the process of brainstorming their ideas, to plan their writings, and then to write their piece, and finally to review and rewrite. Okay, so this is the writing lesson. You will see they are very well structured using a bottom-up approach and helping students with a lot of scaffolding, and then help them to gain their confidence and be confident in writing their own tasks. And then we have the final review lesson. In the final review lesson, we will go through all the vocabulary again learned in the whole unit. So there will be the vocabulary preview part, the vocabulary development part, and also the academic words and idioms. So you will see there are 3 batches of vocabulary in Skillful, each unit of Skillful. The students will not only learn the target words related to the unit topic, they're also going to be exposed to academic words and idioms that are frequently used in the academic texts, and also helping them to use in the academic writing task as well. And after, and you will see there are these stars to mark the frequency of these words used in the English texts. So it is going to help them to be more clear about what kind of words and how frequently they're used in the text. And After that, another piece of practice will be there to consolidate the academic words and idioms, yeah, to give them more opportunities. And lastly, the students will be reviewing themselves about the unit aims, because unit aims are at the beginning, are outlined at the beginning of the unit on the unit opener, right? And after learning the whole unit, we have been using these can-do statements to give students more concrete ideas about what they have learned and what they are supposed to be achieving at the end of the unit, using these can-do statements to have more time on reflecting on what they have been doing and progressing towards. For example, in reading one, I can complete a summary of the main ideas in a text. If they think they have achieved this goal, they can tick this box. If they haven't, they can go back and check what's missing and what they can do to achieve this goal. And at the same time, we have the academic skill, the vocabulary, grammar, and writing as well. Okay, so this is very clear for both the students and teachers to understand what kind of objectives and aims they're going to work on in the whole unit and what are expected from them at the end of the unit. Okay, so this is a unit of the reading and writing lesson, right? The speaking and the listening lesson will be very much identical to this unit structure. So there will be two like listening texts and followed by a speaking task. And then in between, there will be academic skills, academic words and idioms. There will be like the vocabulary and grammar. At the end, there will be the word list and also the unit review. So these two books are designed in the same like structure and format. The topics, the content are mapped to each other, but with a focus on like speaking and listening and also reading and writing to develop these 4 skills comprehensively and completely using 2 books together. And apart from the unit, I would also like to give you an like a close look at the brand new Scientific American like content we have integrated into the book. So Scientific American is a very popular like a science journal for like almost like 100 and I think more than 100 years in the US. And it is a very authentic like source for students to read and listen to. There will be a lot of different types of content. For example, we have the data sheet. Yeah, these tables, these data sheets, these infographics. And at the same time, we will have reading and also listening. Yeah, there will be podcasts. Yeah, of listening input, very authentic resources for students to listen and read, and at the same time to be exposed to real world content with the latest like topics. For example, making eye contact signals a new turn in a conversation. So these topics are very up to date, very authentic. And also these content are very similar to what the students are going to read and listen to in a real like university context. So this will further prepare the students with what they are going to meet and encounter in their like university life. Okay, so this is the Scientific American like content. There will be 4 Scientific American like sections in one level of the book, and the 8 in total in 2 books. So in this way, the students will be able to be engaged with more like authentic multi-modal like content in these course books that prepare them for their like real life English life in the universities. And the students will also be able to do a productive like task at the end. Yeah, so after reading, listening, after getting engaged with these content, they will be able to summarize like the points made in the podcast, use the ideas from the podcast to and also the reading text to suggest ways and write between, for example, 150 words or 225 words for your answer. So there will be a productive activity at the end to give the students an opportunity to reflect on what they have read and listened to, and giving more information, giving more like ideas based on their own thoughts. This is a reading task, but at the same time, we will have listening as well. So this is actually a multi-modal like a task, not only listening, but also reading, and they will be able to do productive like activities as well. Yes. So this is about the unit and also the Scientific American like content. And now I also would like to give you a little bit more information about the con the sorry, the components this book has been using for both the students and the teachers. Okay, so let me check it. Oh, this is not the right screen share. Wait a second. Yeah, that's it. So there will be a very useful like oh, wait a second. There will be a very useful. So wait a second. Sorry, my screen sharing is not working. Let me double check. Wait a second. Yes, here we go. So there will be a very useful like digital like app for both the students and the teachers. Oh, that's still not the right screen to share. Wait a second. That's it. I think that's the right screen. Okay, yeah. So there will be a student app where the student can use their mobile phones and smartphones to use at their time at any time they want to get access to the learning and to do the practice. So this will be very easy to access, go to practice. The students can use at any time. And for the teachers, we will have a very strong teachers app for teachers to use to present the lessons. As I just go through the unit for you, there will be all the audio video activities integrated into the presentation kit to give easy access to all the lesson and to manage the classroom very easily and all the resources at one place. And at the same time, there will be an assessment platform for teachers and students to get access to effective assessment tools. So there will be instant feedback, and also the teachers can monitor the students' progress by giving students homework on this platform. And if students and teachers are preparing for IELTS practice, there will be 6 new IELTS practice texts for level 2 to 4 as well. So these assessment tools are also brand new for teachers to use to give easy access and to save your preparation time as well. Okay, so in total, there will be a lot of digital tools for both the students and teachers, and at the same time to get access to a lot of digital resources on our website. If you are interested to know more about Skillful Third Edition, you can scan this QR code to download samples. But I would also like to give you a quick access to our to our Macmillan Education representatives as well. So here we will have another QR code for you to scan. If you are extremely interested and you want to hear immediately from us about Skillful Third Edition, I will give you a link to submit your information, and our Macmillan Education representatives will get contact with you immediately and using your email address. So here is a link for you to submit your information about your interests in Skillful Third Edition. So here is the link for you to submit, and we will get contact with you very soon if you submit your email address using this link. Okay, so that is all about the Skillful Third Edition course over walkthrough. And before you go, here are just some housekeeping things before you go. So let me share my screen again with you. So again, the certificate together with Dell and Blue's lesson plan and also the session recording will arrive in your inbox by the thank you email from Macmillan Education Asia. It will arrive in a few days after this session, so please stay tuned and be patient. And don't forget to check your spam folder as well. Yeah, hopefully it will arrive in a few days after today's session. And if there's any information, anything you have, any questions you have, you can contact us. I will share with you our email address very soon. And for the next session of this spring webinar, we will have another session focusing on the multiliteracy approach to give you more ideas about how to use multiliteracy approach in your English classroom to get your students ready with their future. So this will be on Wednesday, 19th of June. And Dale and I will be there to co-host this session. And here's the QR code for you to get registered. And for the last session of this webinar series, we will have the Fast Forward 2024. So in this session, we will have global trainers from Macmillan Education together to give you a very quick highlight of all the useful ideas we have learned from the previous year's webinars from Macmillan Education. So here's the link, QR code for you to get registered again. And lastly, Dale, would you like to give us more information about the new initiative about new voices?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we're coming up soon. In the next few months, we've got this really cool new initiative where we're gonna invite people like yourselves to come and share your ideas with us. So we want to hear what you are doing in the classroom, practical ideas. You can, the sessions or the presentations will be around 15 minutes long. We'll give you an opportunity to really showcase your ideas and skills. So anybody who's interested or watches webinars like this and thinks, well, I could do that. I've got ideas. I want to share stuff. And wants to get on the ladder, let's say, of teacher training, this is going to be a really cool opportunity for you. So make sure you follow us on Facebook or on WeChat, on our platforms, on our social media channels for more information about the upcoming webinars, but also about how you can become a teacher trainer and get your improve your CV by becoming a global presenter for Macmillan Education as well.
Yes, thank you very much for the final introduction. And yeah, for the next session, the next two upcoming sessions, it is for all age groups. So no matter what age groups you are teaching, we will have ideas for you to using to use a multi-modal approach in your classroom. So stay tuned and get registered, and we look forward to seeing you there in the next two sessions. Okay, so we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.